Hi guys, welcome to the first Prom Night Rejects podcast. Did it. Coming to you socially distanced, of course, and pre-recorded from a very secure location somewhere in lovely sunny Tamworth.
Two-town.
Tamworth.
Hello, it's Dave here.
Dave.
With Tom and Dan. Oh, sorry, have I got to get a bit?
Yeah, you got a bit closer, man.
Okay, then I get a little bit closer. Hi everybody, for anybody who is listening. First ever Prom Night Rejects podcast. We've got a bunch of topics to discuss in this first series. Some good stuff, some bad stuff, some hilarious stuff, and everything in between. Tonight we're going to be talking about shows, so disaster shows, really good shows, amazing shows that we've all done. Myself, Dan and Tom. Everything from when we could actually play live shows. Guys, do you remember that?
No.
No.
It was like...
Let's say yeah.
Last March, approximately 11,000 years ago.
We do have a few topics in mind to talk about in the coming weeks, but anything that you would love to hear, your suggestions will always be welcome, so you can get in touch with us on all of our social medias. Tonight we are going to play our debut single for the first time ahead of its release on March the 5th. And also some nostalgia tracks for us as well. So let's talk shows.
Cool. So, who wants to start?
Shows. You've got to start with the good, haven't you? The best shows you've done, and they're not necessarily like the most packed out shows.
No.
Ever. I think Dave will remember we did an after hours show in London, and that drive in the minibus felt like forever. Because it wasn't the best bus in the world, but it was amazing. But do you remember we played in front of like 5 dudes in the other band, but they loved it.
Was that the one where we were in the corner of
the room? It was.
And they popped huge for us in there.
Yes.
They loved it, absolutely.
Yeah. It was one of them ones where like people from downstairs heard how much, they didn't hear the music, they heard how much fun the other people were having, and clearly somebody had like gone downstairs to get a drink and been like, you gotta come listen to these guys upstairs. Literally just came up and it was brilliant. Like we played and then this other band played and we were outside talking with the other band. We ended up coming in and so many people had such a good time that we ended up just playing again, which was just great. But it was just one of the ones
bizarre.
where you've travelled so far to play in front of that many people, but it's one of them gigs where you come away and you just like had so much fun. And I'm sure that was the Burger King incident as well.
I think it probably was.
Whoa. What's the Burger King incident?
I'll let Dave tell it.
No, it's...
Hang on. For everybody that's been on tour or played shows, Burger King is the shit yourself of all meals to have before or after a show. Without any doubt. It's
without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh yeah,
but XL bacon double cheeseburger, pal. Standard stuff.
Standard.
So I think what Dan's referring to is that whenever we'd go anywhere and we'd be out as a band, my prime directive as a person is just to try and make people laugh and piss themselves all the time. So I'm there with a burger box and it's empty, and I've taken like a red fries packet or something and put it inside the burger box to make it look like a tongue, and then I'm just talking with the burger box, pretending like some sort of weird Burger King ventriloquist. And then as I do something and lift the burger box up, all the excess salt flies out of the box and goes straight in my eyeball.
It was like someone had maced him, and this is, the best thing is this isn't in the van. This is in the middle of a packed out service station.
Yeah,
and he screams at the top of his lungs like somebody has maced him. Brilliant.
And instead, I think Becky hands me like a wipe or something for my eye, and it turns out it's like the lemon wipe that they give you with the Burger King, and I'm just it's a scented wipe straight in my eyeball.
I'm still adamant to this day we've got that on video.
I think we have so you probably will come to hear about yourself, Dan. You'll come to hear about the salty gif, because everybody wants they want me to strip that from the video
and just have it as a gif
and make that into a gif. But
it's one of the ones, if you slow mode it, so when you know the footballs hit you in the face and you see it ripple, you just see Dave like it's brilliant. But do you remember the incident after the gig on the way home that I had?
No.
So I had these like drumming shorts, like a Muir drumming shorts.
Oh god, I remember. That's just triggered my memory.
They were my shorts. You'll know from playing, you've just got that one outfit that you're massively comfortable in, and as a drummer, the shorts are the one. And Muir had obviously created these shorts for drumming. So we're driving home, and Becky's dad, Bob, bless him, legend, he was our driver because he could drive that vehicle, and he'd take us anywhere. He just absolutely loved it. And we're coming home, and some people are asleep, and it's literally the dead of night, and I'm like, yeah, Bob, you're gonna have to pull over the next service station, mate. And he's like, oh, we're nearly home, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna make it, mate. Like I'm either gonna myself in the back of this minibus, or you're gonna pull over. It was one of those moments, probably from the Burger King, to be fair.
Yeah.
So he pulls over the service station, and you've never seen a skinny ass white boy with an emo fringe run so quick in your life to what I think is this empty service station, because it is the dead of night. So I've gone in there, and you've done your business, and I've come out as happy as anything. But what I've realised is after the gig and in the back of the minibus, because I've been like hot and sweaty on stage and stuff like that, I've took my underpants off just to have like the shorts on, sort of thing.
Feel that breeze.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And as this like family are walking towards me in the service station, and I'm there in like a vest top and these shorts, and I'm like, oh, it's a cold night, isn't it? And then all of a sudden Dave and Becky have come walking towards and been like, your shorts are see-through, mate. Practically just walking starkers.
I'll tell you what, I just have to
The shadow.
I've got
The
to
shame. The shame.
Of Dan's
I've got
I've haunted that family.
Not pleasant.
I've got to note it right here that this is our first podcast, and what has been a topic of discussion that we've decided to use about good gigs has devolved into Dan and his see-through shorts.
Pretty much. Yeah.
It didn't last very long, did it? Let's be honest.
It's stuff like that makes because if the gig was awful, you wouldn't remember those little bits either.
No,
at all.
I agree.
Some of those parts are the best parts about the it's what happens around the show. Like that 20 minutes and half an hour on stage is awesome, because that's what we all love. But like the stuff that happens leading up to it, like tour memories, and like you don't remember very much of the half an hour on stage, or like, unless something major happened. Like you remember all the dicking around that you did before or after. Or
I remember the string breaks, or the drum skin goes through or something, where you're just giving it loads and you smash through a drum skin. I remember that sort of stuff, but I don't remember like, oh man, we really, really nailed that performance. It's like, oh, that was the gig where we came home, stopped at the services, and we all got in a photo booth and had a photo together and stuff like that. Do you know, that's the kind of thing that you remember. Then you miss that.
Yeah, and it's I mean, on the same hand, some of those, like, we've had a lot. Like I've toured quite a lot, obviously, as you know, with Elf. We've done a lot of stuff like all over the country, like, and at the same time, man, all I remember from like there's tours where all I've been is sick the whole time, like, and like if you ask like Lex or Grace or any of the guys that were on tour with me in Elf, I was a miserable most of the time, because I'm like,
you were that dude.
No, I was that dude. Well, everybody else is like, oh yeah, we're gonna go like play some music and dance outside the venue and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna sit here with my hood up and watch some Simpsons on YouTube.
I feel like Tom would have hated us back in the day.
I really think so.
Like me, you and Nick together. Tom would have quit. Tom would have just been like, this isn't for me.
I'm gone. No, I don't think so. I don't know. Like, I don't remember that. But I did a short stint with Elf towards like.
I think it depends, man. Like I say, when you're on tour, like sometimes when we've had to stop away for a while as well. Like sometimes mine's mindset was different. Like I'm a big family guy anyway. Like I like to be at home, and and I found it difficult, but like it wasn't even that. Like I say, I got sick so easy. So like. I'd be like, oh man, I've got a banging headache, and then I'd start to feel like I'd got a cold, and then I'd just be like, oh man, this whole tour just sucks. Everybody else is having a fantastic time, and I'm sat there just like, and again, like Becky's dad, obviously, my old man used to drive us around everywhere as well in the blue Sprinter. Yeah, God rest its soul. But yeah, that poor bus. Yeah, man, that saw some horrible things. Heard some truly horrible things.
If that bus had a voice to talk, it'd be like, I've seen some
Oh man, some of this, like, man, 90% of the time we didn't make it to service stations. It was just like there'd be like 4 guys and 2 girls just in fields. Do you know what I mean? Like,
side of the road.
That nearly happened. Yeah. Nearly happened. If Bob hadn't pulled over.
But like
in a bush on the M40.
I'd have been out the window, mate. I'd have had the back doors open. Just let it fly.
Ridiculous.
Well, yeah.
Ridiculous.
Well, I guess let's. Yeah, I'm sounding negative, and I'm not meaning to. Yeah, like, but
dude,
talking
you're
about-
out of the band.
I'm out of the band.
It was all those Burger Kings. That's why
dude,
you were so sick.
dude, that's why I was sick all the time. It's service station Burger Kings. Me up. Anyway,
And they're too expensive. Can I just put that point
oh yeah,
in there? Do you
service
know what I mean?
stations triple the price of what you'd get anywhere else.
I think Burger King is just like, can I have this meal with some fries? Do you want to go large on that? Jesus Christ, I can't remortgage. No, I'd rather not.
I'd rather not. No, but it's like talking about great shows. I was looking through the other day, like it came up, and it was like a image hosting site that I used to use when we were building like MySpace and stuff. And it had got all of like old posters and stuff in it from Battle of the Bands and like all that sort of stuff.
No way.
And like
Yes.
it had got the Heats poster from, I can't remember what year it was now, but it was when that was how I first met you guys. I can't remember what year it was.
We could
Elfrin Heat
figure
6.
that out.
I'm going to say 09 maybe.
No, so
I reckon 09 too.
No, I met Laura in 09. I would say 08. I don't think we did a Battle of the Bands in 09.
I don't think Elf started until 08. Like
Maybe it was 2008 then, because
Who was your singer?
Keisha.
Not Kesha.
No. So Keisha was singing, and then we had Phil on drums, and Phil didn't know whether he could do the show, so then I put an ad out, and you were like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yes.
And
I
then you were like,
remember,
come to After Hours Heat, which I think was Heat 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And I came and met you guys.
Yeah.
And then Phil was like, oh, I can do it now. And then Phil did the Heat with us. And then, obviously, I knew all of you guys by then. So
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
sick. And then I think it was like shortly after the whole Battle of the Bands run was then, and we always talk about this show still, is the Lost in Vegas After Hours EP launch show where
December 5th.
December
December
5th, where we opened for you guys, then there was you guys, and then Lost in Vegas, and
Yeah.
they had that crazy big like arch runway thing across the stage at the assembly rooms.
I nearly destroyed that
That
thing.
honestly, if somebody had come in and actually done some sort of like health and safety risk assessment on that, I'm 32 now, I think about these things. That's it. Health and safety risk assessment, that would just not have been no chance. Somebody
I
nearly came
did
through
a
that.
full-on Triple H intro on that thing with the water. And
Oh
then
man, the water spit! You were famous, man.
always for that. I loved it. Now,
Could you imagine that nowadays?
Corona.
Spits the water everywhere. It's like, yeah, this place is getting shut down.
Put a mask on.
Put a mask on, you heathen.
If ever I sit there and people are like, "What is your best show?" That one, hands down. Just for like, if you had like a tick box exercise, you've got atmosphere, the way we play, because that was one of the first times that I'd really started playing live with the metronome. So we were like really like super tight. It was our EP launch as well as like, I don't know if it was like, was it like a Vegas comeback or a Vegas nostalgia show or something?
I don't know. I think what it was is that the venue had been booked because it was Johnny B's birthday.
Yep.
And I believe it was Chris Lynch's birthday
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
So they booked it as a simultaneous do type of thing.
Mhm.
Johnny's mum ended up booking it with the assembly rooms. But I mean, what a show.
It's brilliant.
It really was.
Man, it was
Absolutely
awesome.
brilliant.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Some of that, and I think, yeah, so like that's one of the, like in my mind when I think of local shows, that for me was like the by far the best.
Yeah.
And like I don't think I played another show at the assembly rooms that felt as good as that.
No, same.
Like because we did like Battle of the Bands like following years, didn't we? Like
Mhm.
like we followed up with it, but like I don't think I played nothing felt the same, I guess, from after that, because it was just like it was such an awesome show. The place was packed out as well. But yeah, it was just a show that we talk about. It's like, if that was like if you're saying that was December 5th,
Yeah, it was,
2008, and that's what. So yeah, Tom's quick maths. Let's work out how quickly.
12 years, bro.
12 years. Thanks.
12 years.
Thank you.
Glad he said that because I'm still figuring it out.
This is why we have calculators.
I was about to ask Alexa.
Alexa, how many years ago was it? 2008.
But do you know what?
did you unplug it?
I turned her off. Yeah, I don't want to listen.
I did all the assembly rooms sort of gigs. One of the things that I loved about like Tamworth Battle of the Bands, you'd always get, I can't remember, I'm going to think of their name in a minute. They were a family band. They played every Savannah.
Electric Cake Salad.
Electric Cake. I was thinking the same thing.
But do you remember the band where it was the mum, dad, and the two sons?
Yeah, I'm sure that was Electric Cake.
No, I'm sure it was Savannah.
Electric Cake Salad was. I'm going to throw names about, so I won't go, because honestly, I'll go down a rabbit hole of so and so's cousins, brothers, sisters. So no, but yeah.
It was like a family affair, though, wasn't it?
But I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Electric
so
Cake Salad was two guys who, like the dad of a band that Stevie J was in or something.
Okay.
One of the guys who was in that band. But Savannah,
they were a family band. I bet I can find. They were a family band, and it was like,
I'm sure they were in our heat in battle, like Elf's heat in Battle of the Bands. So like, I'll see if I can dig that poster out and have a look.
But how many times did you play Battle of the Bands, like in assembly rooms?
See, we joined it fairly late because you guys were fairly sort of established by the time I met you guys.
he thinks we established.
I think as far as Tamworth bands go, because you always remember those old Tamworth bands, Falling Faster, all people like that type of thing. But like
Indigos.
Yeah, Indigos, all of that. Who was the group that had the violin?
Oh God, I know you're talking about.
Yeah.
They were sort of like. Oh, sorry, I'm miles away from the microphone now. Excited. They were sort of like a funeral for a friend kind of vibe, weren't they?
Yeah.
I do not remember them at all.
You know what I remember from that band? You, me, and Nick being backstage at the Palace before it was a sports bar or whatever, and we're sat there, and I think Nick was tuning his bass, and that band came in, and the bass player fell over something, over the arm of the sofa that Nick was sitting on, and basically landed on the neck of Nick's bass.
Ouch.
And it was like, you heard a string sort of like, whatever. And I was like, this guy has just snapped the neck on Nick's Gibson Thunderbird
I was about to say,
bass.
was it the Gibbo?
And we were like, oh, Nick, honestly, I've never seen Nick look like that before.
Yeah,
Nick's going to kick this guy's ass.
Timid. Nick's like a puppy could like attack Nick, and he'd run Nick. Nick was our puppy dog, a handsome ass puppy dog. Putting that out there. But he did, did he break it?
No, he didn't actually break it. And then we went on and had a kick-ass show and stuff anyway, because I think most of the shows at the Palace were pretty good.
Well, there's one for you, Palace or assembly rooms.
I never got to play the Palace.
Man, you missed out there.
Yeah.
The one thing I will massively applaud Chris Lynch for, any band that played the Palace had Chris's time. And he'd always, what was really good as well, even with like the young bands, because he did it with us as well, the constructive criticism he'd give you.
Yeah.
Which was
songs
really
don't
nice,
play that one again, that was rubbish.
Yeah, because like people
I listened to the guy. I listened to him.
You missed a trick playing the Palace. Some of those gigs at the Palace, whilst the 5th of December on the topic was the best, but some of those gigs at the Palace were incredible,
especially when it was busy, when it was packed out.
I went to a couple of shows there, but I never got to play it. But like
sitting and watching them was a really, really good one as well. Like the local bands, especially if they were your mates. I mean, Prison Fear, Hampton, putting his foot through the wall.
Stevie J falling off the stage.
Yeah, and having the actual, you guys are equipment, what's that thing? The bin?
Monitor
falling on him and still going.
When you stood about 40, 50 feet from the stage.
Yeah.
And you just watched, like, bearing in mind, I've known Stevie J since high school. We've known each other. I've known you, Dan, since high school too. We've known each other for like 18 years or something ridiculous. He's a really great friend of mine, and I'm looking at him. I'm going, oh man, this guy. I'm not the biggest fan of that kind of music, but he is absolutely killing it up there. He's commanding this stage, and then all you hear is yeah, bang. That's exactly right. And you think, oh God, my friend's dead. He's gone. And then all of a sudden, he just pops up out of absolutely nowhere, facing the front row of the crowd, giving it loads.
Because I think Benji had to lift the monitor off of him, didn't he? And he's on the floor with his monitor on him, still going, lifts the monitor off, and just acts like nothing's happened. So, like, those gigs to watch, those local gigs to watch, were some of the best as well.
Last thing on the topic of the Palace before we talk about.
Yeah, this is because I'm giving Dave the look now of like, sorry, let's move on.
Yeah, so I'm not going to mention any names per se, but you will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, here we go.
The evening that we won the Palace Battle of the Bands.
Yep.
And Lynch and the guys are like, oh, come back to the house and we'll go and have some drinks and have a bit of celebrating stuff like that. Do you remember? Oh, actually, this might not have even been that evening. No, it wasn't, because Lost in Vegas played and they had pyro.
Oh,
Do you know what I'm about to say?
yeah.
So Lost in Vegas had pyro.
Yeah.
And Benji, Chris's brother, we all know Benji Lynch, was operating the pyro, and he told a particular person, a photographer, at this point during this song, don't get too close.
Dan's laughing already.
I swear to God, don't get too close to the stage. He says to this guy.
He told
He says,
everybody.
the pyro is coming on, and obviously you are stood quite close to the stage, so don't be alarmed. It's not going to burn your face off or anything. It's just a little firework. It's rated for indoors. You're fine. So this guy does no more than gets his front of himself on the stage to get that shot of Chris. And Ben just looks at him, almost as if to say, I told you, bro. Bang, straight up. Honestly, the pyro goes off, and then we're all at Chris's later, and this guy who's taking the photographs comes to the house, and almost as if like looking for Ben, as if to say, "Would you do that sort of thing?"
I'm pretty sure he didn't even say anything. Like just Ben knew what that guy was there for, and just went. And this guy had the biggest emo fringe you've ever seen. Not anymore, mate. Like, he was warned, but it's one of those contentious issues, isn't it? That when you're just like, I've warned him, and he's not listening, but.
Do I ruin my brother's big moment?
Yeah, or do
the
I
sake
just
of this
blow it
guy's
up?
eyebrows? Right, but moving on. Absolutely moving on.
Have you got a particularly shit show?
I don't think we've had.
I want to know if
Terrible.
Tom has, only because I want to know if you have, because obviously I've not known you as long as Dave, and you are such a meticulous character. And the fact that you just said as well that like some of the you were sick most of the time and stuff like that. You've got to have one that you were just like either you were awful or just the experience was awful.
I can think of one that stands out as being particularly bad. Although I will say one thing: every time we played Scotland, incredible. Like there was one particular, just on one good show. I remember we played in this like tiny place in like Dundee or somewhere, and we were just doing like a run of Scotland shows, and we went and played this venue, and the ceiling was tiny. Like I was just trying to think whether we had Neil. I think we had Neil in the band with us at the time. Can
I just clarify for anybody who doesn't know who Neil is? He's like 8'4".
Yeah.
So Neil's a big dude. So I'm not sure. Actually, no, Neil wasn't with us. It was CJ.
CJ.
So CJ was playing bass, and the like, you know, I'm not a tall guy anyway, but even for me, I'm like, man, this is really low in here. And it was strange because like the show was crazy. Like there was like 10 kids, and then there seemed to be like 50 kids just out of nowhere, and it was like the ceiling was dripping with sweat. People were crowd surfing. It was awesome.
Love those.
But the security guard was like this tiny little bald guy, right? And he turned up to work on his bike, right? And he just propped his bike up against the bar, and that's where he left it. So everybody's like leaning over, ordering pints over his mountain bike, and then he's telling us like, you know, and I'm not going to do a broad Scottish accent because I'm not.
Dave will.
Bring me in, bro. What's the script?
Dave will.
But he's telling us like how he did security for Bring Me the Horizon, all this sort of stuff, and
all his seats, man. Security for. I'd say he's a end. I'd say I'd knock him out. Yes.
But anyway, yeah, awful show, and I'm pretty sure all of the Elf guys, probably Phil more so, will agree with me on this. The worst show by far was we'd done a tour which wasn't particularly great. Probably the first tour we ever did, actually. And funnily enough, there was us and Falling Faster on it, but there was another band that were headlining.
Love those guys.
And I thought
loved Falling Faster on it.
And Elf and Falling Faster sold majority of the tickets on that tour. And then the last show was Bristol. And I don't know, I think it was called like The Croft or something like that. And it was fucking horrible. Like, I can't, like the stage was wet when you got there. And like,
this sounds an awful lot like what I would consider our worst gig at that pub where you got smashed, Dan. Yeah. But that's Tom, carry on.
Lies.
Dan, playing drunk? Never.
Lies.
So we went and played. So basically, we set everything up as per normal. Obviously, I've towed the stage down by this point because I ain't putting £2,000 worth of gear on a stage that's wet. Anyway,
I'm just picturing Tom looking like he's going to go and sunbathe under the lights of the stage. Just like, you know, when you put your towel out and you go for breakfast when you're at a resort. Yeah.
So, so we got to this venue and it is a hole. I don't think it exists anymore. Like, I'm pretty sure it got shut down. But it's like, it was just awful. Like some venues, like when you see like stickers and like drawings and stuff over the wall, it's cool because like there's a culture to the place.
Yeah.
This place was just awful. There was just holes punched in the walls. It stunk. It was just horrible. Really, really nasty.
Sort of like on the toilet wall. If you want a murder doing, call 07643.
Exactly. And then you're walking down the hallway, and I don't know why I remember this, but I distinctly remember we were like, I think we were trying to do like an acoustic, like record an acoustic thing before the show, and it was like me, Lex, Phil, and a couple of the other guys. Like I don't think Grace was there, but either way, we were just like we were trying to set up for this acoustic thing, and we were trying to do it like record it so we could put it straight online. And I was like, "Oh, dude, what's the Wi-Fi code?" And he was like, "Just walk into the hallway." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Walk into the hallway and just look on the wall." And on the wall, there must have been this password for the Wi-Fi that was about 400 digits long, and it was literally just written across the wall. And he was just like, yeah, just type that in. And I was like, there's no f***ing way.
Guys, what time's last orders? Yes. Have I got time to put the
guys, video's not happening.
But so I was just like, no. So anyway, it gets to showtime, so we're like stood there, and it's like, I think there was I think we'd reached the point in the tour where it was like, it was wrapping up. We knew it hadn't been great, and there was just us and Falling Faster, and it was just, I remember just standing there. I think there was 2 people that paid admittance that night. So we were playing, and it was like the sound was terrible. It still stunk. It was still wet. Like I was like, this place.
The venue, right?
Yes. Jesus, man. And it was just shit. And I remember just like, you know the saying where it's like, you play to 5 people or 5,000 people, you give the same amount of effort.
Yeah.
Like,
I always found that a very difficult thing to
do. We've always been like, we feed off a lot of the people that we're playing to, and like especially when you're playing such small shows, you want to be like in the face of the people that are listening to you. But like, it was so hard. Like, I think we did like 3 or 4 songs, and then we did 3 or 4 songs. The bass amp cut out because the electric on that side of the stage went off because it tripped. Yeah, and then no thanks. All of the mics went down, and all you could hear was kick drum, snare, a bit of like, I think it was my guitar and my backing vocal, but no lead vocal. And it was just, I was just, we're done with this. So we just literally just finished up, and then Falling Faster played. So we just went crazy for those guys. And then the headline band, because it was their finishing, like final night of their final tour, and literally nobody there. So they just the whole place up. Like trashed the whole stage, everything, like the drum kit smashed to pieces, everything. And it was just like,
you could picture the owner of the venue walking in and go, "Guys, you shouldn't have tidied up. You didn't need to do that."
Honestly, man. Like that, for me, that was probably one of the worst shows in just terms of like, the place was horrible. It wasn't equipped to play like for bands and stuff, and like it just
I think it is the sound more than anything. You can get over the dive type places. I can't remember that. I want to say the Actress and Bishop, but I don't think it is. What's the place that's on the canal or was on the canal?
Flapper and Firkin.
Flapper and Firkin. That was a dive, but that was a good dive because
we've had some shows in there.
Yeah, because at least like if you've got a decent sound quality, and like you say, even if there's like 2 dudes or 2 girls just going absolutely mental, you can feed off of that. But if you've got sound problems and like mics are cutting out on that's just the worst. Like, you're not having a good time with that at all.
No. And like you say, I'm meticulous, so anything like that is setting my that's just triggering me in a way nobody wants.
We've definitely had smoke coming from behind an amplifier. I think that was probably at the Academy, like with whatever the little one was upstairs.
That was Bar Academy, wasn't it?
Bar Academy.
That was the one when it was down, not on Horsefair, on the other one.
It was literally right next. It was up the road from. Was it up the road from the main academy?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, main academy, and then you had the Academy 1, 2, and 3,
and then up the road was
Scruffy Murphy's. Yeah.
You're thinking of, so it was Carlin Academy at the time.
That was it.
And it was Academy 2.
Yeah.
and then the bar academy was above it. So
Yes.
you had, and it
That's
was like
probably
all the stairs, because if nobody's aware of small bands, the idea is you spend loads of money on gear that then you have to carry upstairs at every single venue.
Yeah.
So
And you're looking at
Yeah.
all these guys with combos and 1x12s, and you're like, look at you.
Look at this guy.
And then next thing you can't play that because you've suffered a hernia at 18.
So me and Dave put in amps and cabs in flight cases for no apparent reason.
We played. Do you remember the Barfly? Digbeth.
I never got to play there either.
So that was 3 stories, but the majority of it was like bottom floor.
Oh, that was what turned into the HMV Institute, wasn't
Yes.
it? So I have played there.
Yeah, the majority. We've seen like
I liked it
Senses
there.
Fail on the bottom floor there, the Blackout, a Data Remember I've seen there as well. But
The blackout.
we played a festival. Do you remember Red Festival?
Yes.
So we played
I
Red
remember that too.
Festival, and we played the top floor. And on the top floor, you imagine dragging all that equipment up. Thankfully, the drummer for the main band, who was at the top, was just like, just bring your cymbals and snare, and that's it. Oh, brilliant. But all the gear was in this like maintenance room that wasn't locked. And you kept seeing people go in there thinking it was the toilet. So we didn't leave that. We had to leave the room in shifts. So like Becky and John would stay there, and then we'd go and scope everybody out, because we were like the talkers of the group, as you can probably
Who's this
tell.
way?
Me, you, and Nick.
I think that was you.
Nick was the pretty boy that I would drag with me, and I'd just talk to people and be like, "Yo, we're playing here, we're doing this, etc."
Can we get a Nick is pretty count? That's twice.
That is twice.
Ding.
But you had to stay in there to like guard the gear, because our gear was expensive. We took pride in buying like decent gear because we wanted to like sound really good.
But definitely on the topic of good and bad shows, I don't think we've ever had like a truly awful show. Like I know we were around for a few years. We did a few shows. I mean, I did shows with After Hours and I did shows with Elf, and I can't say that I ever had a truly awful show. The only thing that I can think of was the aforementioned Dan gets drunk, drops his stick, starts playing the wrong song over what we're playing. There was also, we walked into the venue and there's just like, where's the stage? It's in the corner. That was not a stage.
No,
it was
not
just
at all.
a corner of the building. And you went over there and you were like, okay, what's through that door there? Oh, you can get changed in that corridor. Okay, what's down the corridor? That's the toilets. And then you go in there and the urinals are overflowing.
The main toilets for the venue, where when they open doors, everybody's walking down. Yeah,
Yeah,
That one?
basically.
Yeah. People had to walk
Across the
through
stage.
the stage.
Yeah,
Quotation marks.
yeah,
stage.
exactly. But it was bad, and the floor was literally soaked with piss and
Yep.
and whatever. And yeah, it wasn't. But then even having said that, as bad as the venue was, that didn't make it necessarily a bad show, because you still
did.
well.
It was a bad show because of me.
You still
Because of you.
Yeah, he's trying to make light of this. It was a bad show because of me.
You still had a lot of people there who'd come to see us.
Yeah.
So that's realistically,
That makes the show.
it's like what you said before, Tom, about you perform the same whether you're in front of one person or 1,000 people or 10,000 people. But if you've got people there who actually enjoy what you're doing and they've come specifically to see you,
Please
then-
don't.
No, sorry, but yeah, if they've come actually to see your band and to support you, that's what makes it a good or a bad show for me.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
Definitely. On the subject of After Hours, would you guys like to play a song?
Yeah.
What are we choosing?
Well, we have kept it a little bit quiet, actually. We haven't mentioned it to many people, but before we finished as a band in sort of 2008, 2009, we had wrote songs that we were doing live for a little while.
About seven or eight tracks?
Yeah, maybe
I
6 or
remember
7
them.
tracks. So,
Yep.
this was one of them. And we've obviously been working on it for a little while and stuff, and it's actually come to the point where it's pretty much finished, so
Yep.
I don't mind showing people.
Sweet.
But
Hells yeah.
It's
What's it called?
called Green Eyed Lover.
Let's give it a whirl.
Hope everyone enjoys this one.
Better do.
You will.
Look at this tragic affair, conclusions everywhere. Step back, the truth is what you hear. interrogation, the innocent frustration. Forget the love in this intoxication. The misery of us falling, it's blinding me. From all the lies you were saying, it's blinding me. Fighting this demon in you to realize what is true. Will take the breath from your soul and leave you broken. Remember how you could feel when you had love that was real. Do you remember that time? The misery of us falling, it's blinding me. From all the lies you were saying, it's blinding me. Yeah, you never knew that he was feeding from you just to keep alive. Yeah, look into your reflection and see the sweet creation that he has made from within you. These hearts are stolen, all that was left was frozen. All of this love now laid to rest. Now even drawing a line would never make your heart mine, as it was taken from inside. Misery of us falling, it's blinding me. From all the lies you were saying, it's blinding me. Yeah, you never knew that he was feeding from you just to keep alive. Yeah, look into your reflection and see the sweet creation that he has made from within you.
Well, weren't that bloody good?
That was bloody good, that.
I do love that. All programmed drums as well.
Oh, why'd you have to say that for?
Because that's how good it
play
was.
the drums.
Because that's how.
No,
that's
we
how,
all know that Dan can play the drums. We all know that he used to play that song live
but
many
the,
moons
the
ago.
sound of that is really, really good, to be honest, and that just shows what you can do now in a room
with
is
a
great.
MacBook and a set of speakers.
Yeah, definitely. And
All the talent.
Yeah, and we've sat down and we've mapped it to exactly how I played it. And that, but yeah,
Exactly.
that easily one of our best
Yeah,
tracks.
Well-
it was one of the songs that I remember probably most fondly because it was where we'd all sort of like got comfortable with each other. We all knew each other by
Yeah.
that point, and we were all like just loving it.
Yeah.
Really
Um,
enjoyed it.
So yeah, love it.
Segue.
Segue. Oh
you
no.
saying you talking about songs that you enjoy. This actually, we're going to play a song by Elf as well, because why not? Because for anybody who's been actually listening to the podcast for however many minutes we've been waffling on for now, Tom, editing, please. The fact of the matter is that myself and Dan were in After Hours when we were younger. Tom was in a band called Everybody Looks Famous. I later joined Everybody Looks Famous when they were looking for a guitar player as well. So we've all known each other for a long time. But every single song that I've ever heard Elf write, record, play live, they came to a point where they wrote this song and it was literally like a coming to fruition kind of thing, because it is like the most mature and well-crafted song that me personally that I ever heard Elf play. And yeah, I think we're going to play that one for you, aren't we, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, this is probably biasly, this is my favourite song that Elf ever recorded, just purely because it was pretty just natural. Like we wrote it in like 10 minutes in a practice, like the bass of it anyway.
And aren't those always the best ones?
Oh,
that just
without a
easily,
doubt.
definitely.
So like it was like 3 or 4 chords, and it just worked. Like it has ups, it has downs, and like obviously Dave, like Lex's ability to write a killer vocal riff is just it's crazy. So
Girl's insane.
Yeah, this is Fiction, so I hope you all enjoy it. Dave likes it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll play Fiction.
Get it on.
Your mama said, yeah, I made you, and I'll never change, no, I'll never change it. Second night in, and you still crave it, addicted to this. We're making mistakes in a few of my favorite things, yeah, please share your issues. Yeah, I guess it suits you. It's all in your head, it's fiction, unfocused away. Can't believe it alone. It's a fantasy, oh, you have dreamed it so. It's fiction, unfocused, and I can't believe, no, I can't believe it, no. No, I can't believe it, no. And no, we don't like the change, and no one can cope with fate, so I sleep with my eyes open, and I'll never ever leave this space. It feels like I wake up in the same day. I'm creating the lives in the same way. What do we live for? It's all in your head, it's fiction, unfocused away. Can't believe it alone. It's a fantasy, oh, you have dreamed it so. It's fiction, unfocused, and I can't believe, no, I can't believe it, no. No, I can't believe it. No, I can't believe it, no. No, I can't believe it. I'm living in a fantasy. I've been living in a dream. I'm in a fantasy. Been living in a dream. It's all in your head, it's fiction, unfocused away. Can't you leave it alone? It's a fantasy, oh, you have dreamed it so. It's fiction, unfocused, and I can't believe, no, I can't believe it, no. No, I can't believe it. No, I can't believe it, no. No, I can't believe it.
So
Yeah.
Banger.
So so that was probably because obviously we recorded a lot of the stuff ourselves, I guess, like After Hours and everybody else, but we that was the one song where we were like, yeah, if we would do this, we want to do it properly. So we went, in fact, I know if you I know Falling Fast used together all the time, but we went to Outhouse Studios to
Reading?
record that one.
Yeah, our house. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
John Mitchell.
yeah,
It's Unit
Architects.
6
Yeah,
and- yeah,
Unit
yeah.
6.
Unit
yeah.
6, all those,
Yeah,
all those
so
lovely
I'm
bands.
sure
from those
Architects had like a really cool video where they were with John.
Yes,
Like,
the
for-
whole recording of Hollow Crown on YouTube. Brilliant.
Yeah. That was. I'm pretty sure you showed me that as well.
Yeah.
So, so we went there anyway. Spent the weekend with John, which is just it's crazy because like you sit in the room, and like, you know that I like to probably be a little bit more too involved in things. So,
which is a good thing.
the guys are sitting around like playing PlayStation and stuff, but I want to literally see what everything's going on. Like, is that part sounding good? Have we recorded all of that properly? Yeah, that's really good. Why does that sound out of tune? It doesn't sound out of tune. What am I doing? I need to go for a drink. But it was it was really cool, and like to see John's process of recording as well, because obviously, like Dave said, like a lot of the stuff from Alf, like all of the album stuff, like the stuff that we recorded before, that was all programmed drums, but all of this is Phil's live drums.
He can play
very, very well. And so then John sent samples of like all of his kit, so that if we ever wanted to go and program anything again using Phil's samples, he could do all of that. It was just awesome. Like, yeah, he was just awesome. Everything about it was wicked. The track sounds real good too, which is that's yeah. I remember driving back from Reading was like 2 hours, something like that. So it's like near Londonish for us, an hour and a half, 2 hours,
yeah,
something
about
like that.
Yeah.
Especially in a Sprinter van. So driving back from there, and we just listened to the song the whole way back. Like, put the CD in the van and literally just listen to it. Like, oh man, I f***ing love that part. And it's like a whoosh that he's put in, like coming out of like the middle section or something. We're like, I love how that part sounds.
You know what though? I don't think there is anything more gratifying, because again we're shooting wildly off the topic, but doing a recording, not just doing it yourself, but going to what to yourself at the time as a young guy or a young girl, going to a studio and
big
having
deal.
a producer, like an actual person who does this for a living, actually, producing, recording your album, engineering your album, and then you come away with a finished product and you can listen to yourself back, especially when before any of us had MacBooks and we had the capability to actually record our own stuff.
God bless the MacBooks.
Absolutely. But having that physical product in your hand that you can say, we made this.
Yeah,
we
definitely.
spent a week in a studio in Stoke.
Yep.
Prism Studios, I
Prism,
think it was,
yep.
right? Yes, we've shown.
Oh, yeah.
So we spent a week
Yep.
in that studio. We slept in there. We ate in there. We showered in there.
Lego Star Wars.
We foresaw far too much of each other in that studio. But
Yeah.
having the opportunity is the word. Having the opportunity to go and actually do that.
Yeah,
It's something
definitely.
very special. I would say if there's any other, are there any? I don't even know now. I'm so
There are,
out of date
yeah.
with stuff. Up and coming young bands.
Especially from our area, like
Yeah.
I don't hear anything about.
Because-
Maybe we're all too old for this.
Maybe it is.
Probably.
Yeah, but this is the thing. I think because of the MacBook and Pro Tools and Logic and all that sort of stuff, it's quite easy to knock something together, and you get some of the coolest things that you wouldn't get because people can't afford to go to studios and things like that. But you also get people who have absolutely no right whatsoever.
Yeah.
to be making. What are you doing?
Just
Yeah.
Just go onto SoundCloud and just listen to some stuff on
Oh
there.
man, let's not.
I think one of the things for me, which I like that you did with Fiction, you did a music video for it, and that just adds to the memory as well. We never did a music video in After Hours,
No.
and it's one of the things that we never got the experience of doing. But you did like a proper professional music, so it's all good. Like going, I'm going to go on Spotify, I'm going to listen to this, but you physically go on YouTube and watch it. Shameless plug.
Links in the bio.
It's because when you're 20 years old and you're not earning a hell of a lot of money, and then you go to somebody and say, "Oh, can you do a music video for us?" And they say, "Oh yeah, it's 500 quid or whatever."
Yeah.
And you're like, "What?" And like nowadays, you look at it objectively and you say, "Well, actually, no. He's had to pay for all of that gear. That's his
Yes.
time. He's got to pay for all of this stuff and
And
travel
man-
and whatever." And it makes sense now when you're 32.
Yeah.
When you drop into the real world and you start looking at how much things actually cost, those guys massively undervalue themselves.
Big
like
time.
Yeah.
when you've got like
Photographers, videographers.
£500 to do a video, or like £400. I don't even remember how much we spent on the Fiction video or like the Thoughts video that we did with Chris Porter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a whole day of somebody's time, which that's not even the worst part for them. They have to then drop it onto a computer, sit there, edit it, and
Yeah.
then the worst part of it is as well, which obviously we see it from the band side, they see it from the videographer side.
Syncing the audio up.
No, syncing the audio up, that's fine, because obviously when you do a video, like a lot of it's to click anyway. It's more so when they've probably spent maybe, I don't know, a day meticulously choosing shots, what works here, what works there, and then you have some like 16-year-old kid like, man, there isn't enough like video of me in it. Can you
bit
put
where I hit this amazing bit in my guitar solo,
and it's
and
like
I pulled this face, and it's like, nah.
yeah, and
you put that
exactly,
in?
and it's like, would you accept somebody coming into work who doesn't know what you do and telling you what to do?
Oh, absolutely not.
Exactly. So like
Our
bitch
building's,
slap 'em, wouldn't it?
So, yeah,
really
but-
tall, lots of windows.
but exactly, but it's like they just have to put up with that and like when
Yeah.
you look back at it you think, man, they just tolerated us.
Yeah,
like,
we
they
were-
just
Yeah,
tolerated
that is
us.
exactly, that is the word, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tolerance.
Definitely.
But yeah, so moving on to sort of the less of the past, more of the future. We are Prom Night Rejects, aren't we, boys?
We are indeed.
So we've spent a bit of time, obviously, over lockdown. Lockdown is 2020, just obviously passed everybody by. So we spent a lot of time in that. We did some cool videos. We really enjoyed doing it. Anyway, it was like scrambling around week by week to do pop punk cover
So much
videos,
fun.
man. And it was like Dan's his neighbours off again, but it doesn't matter. Just keep doing those drums, Dan.
Won that noise complaint though, didn't I?
Anyway, and then it's like put a new video out every week. It was awesome. And then it's, generally what happens is Dave goes, I've got this little riff idea. So
It always starts.
Yeah, I do like how fluid that is, because like what you say, we put a lot of effort into those videos, which was a lot of work with 3 guys married with kids and stuff like that, and it was just so much fun. And then Dave just comes along and just like, so I know we're a covers band, but I've got something.
yeah.
You've got to bear in mind that when we first started this, the idea was that I'd asked Tom if he wanted to put out some covers, because I'd seen Gary Barlow do this thing during lockdown. But this is where so Gary Barlow does these videos with other celebrities.
I didn't know this.
Yeah,
Neither did I.
Didn't know this.
Neither did I.
Didn't know
So
this
Gary
where it came
Barlow
from.
does this
Story
thing,
from Dave's mind.
and he gets all these people to come in and do these lockdown videos with him, split screen. That's where I got the idea from. I said, Tom, do you want to do some acoustic covers? Tom was like, that's cool, but why? Oh, maybe we should do like a full electric thing. That'd be wicked, wouldn't it? And I was like, but then we'd need a drummer. I know a guy. And yeah, that's where all that came about and stuff, obviously. But then it was never supposed to be any more than that. It was never ever, for me, it was never ever going to be any more than that. And then you sit there and you're recording these covers and you're noodling on a guitar and a riff just falls out. As most of it, like we said before, as most of these songs tend to do when you least expect them to do, they just come out of thin air type of thing. The riff comes out. And then next thing you know, Tom says, I've got this vocal, I've got this verse, well, I've got this section, what about this middle set? And then you've got a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan comes in, throws some stuff over the top of it, and it's just like, boom. But that's a song.
That's it.
That's a song.
Yeah. And then me and Dave spend hours mixing, sending it to Dan saying,
And it's
does
never
this sound
good
good, Dan? Sounds good, but this needs to be louder. Okay, cool. So then we spend another hour on it, and then we with other things that Dan never mentioned in the first place.
I love how technical you try to make me sound there, to put it into perspective with these 2 dudes in a WhatsApp group with MIDI this and 2K this, and I just go, that could be a little bit louder.
That's yes. It needs more snare.
Yeah, you guys are so technical, and I'm just like, that's too louder. It's got too much. Like I don't know these terms like you guys.
Oh my god. So yeah, needless to say, the riff comes out. We write ourselves a little song. Not too far down the line, we've done a mix and mastered version.
And
Should we play it for him?
yeah, I think so. So
I agree.
Dan, do you want Dan, do you want to do the intro?
So yeah, okay. This is ahead of the March the 5th release, which we will put a link where you can pre-save onto, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, Spotify.
Yeah, that's right. Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, if anybody uses any of that
Beautiful.
stuff.
You can pre-save it, but here is the first listen of our original song, Circles.
circles. Yeah. So that is the end of podcast number 1, guys. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed our almost hour. We said half an hour, guys. We were going to do half an hour podcasts. Editing. It won't be half an hour when it will still be over. There's no way I can edit this amount of stuff out. Anyway, thank you for listening, guys. This will be sort of sprayed all over social media. So if you guys want to get in contact with us for any other subjects or anything that you want us to chat about, or if
Anybody wants a feature?
like
Send us a song and we'll listen. I love listening to new music.
Likewise, if there's anybody that we've mentioned in the podcast that wants to dial in over the phone, we'll figure that out as well. We can talk to you on the podcast. It'd be good fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And politely ask us to stop mentioning their name.
Yeah.
Next time I won't mention your name, but I will tell people where you live.
I'm just waiting for the people to sit there and being like, don't tell this story or this story
please,
or this
for the
story.
love of
Don't incriminate me.
So, it's been really good fun. So we've been Prom Night Rejects. This is episode number 1 signing off. Dan? You got
Tell somebody you love them.
Jesus.
Peace and love.
It got deep. Dave?
No, nothing from me.
Nothing from me.
I feel like I'm on a conference call.
Going around the room.
Is it? No, we'll take this offline.
There's always that one dude that's got that one last question. It's like, shut the f*** up.
Shut the f*** up, man. We've been on here for 3 hours.
I need coffee.
Nothing from me. We've been Prom Night Rejects. That was a podcast. We love you all. Thank you for listening.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.